This one's been a long time coming, and I blame scheduling, blame me. I don't care who you blame, but I mean, obviously blame me. That's the main point here. Finally, in just about 45 seconds, we will have Matty G on the pod. He's got some buys and some sells. He is NBA G Wiz on Twitter. And again, finally, so grateful. We've also been told that we look like podcast twins. So you guys be the judge of that. Before we get started, just a quick reminder that this show is brought to you by our buddies over at Bet Online. Continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. They've got the largest selection of odds: football, NBA, college hoops, NHL, UFC, live in-game betting, the earliest odds, and the ability to watch the games as they happen. Sign up today and use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to grab your welcome bonus on that first deposit. Bet Online. The game starts here. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. I'm Dan Bespris, and again, here he is, sporting a Dodgers hat.
Of course. Wait. I had to complete it. Wait a minute.
Oh,
there it is.
For folks that are listening after the fact. Oh, well, I'm behind you there. I
didn't know where to do it. It's like there was no picture on Google that I could just be like, can I please have Dan Bespris's big board, like from like 2012, whatever it was. I was just like, I had to screen grab one of the videos. So I'm like filling in. And then if I really want to be cheeky, I'm like, it is Dan Bespris.
That's just me frozen talking to me.
It is.
Well,
I just did
let's be honest.
How you doing, man? How you doing?
Isn't that what I ultimately would love the most, is just me talking to a frozen version of me? I'm a little smidge arrogant. Matty G, NBA G Wiz on social media, NBA GEEWHIZ. I wasn't, oddly enough, wearing my Dodgers hat when you and I got on air together, but I switched. I was wearing my Cal Bears hat.
Yep. And I've got my Hotel Roosevelt hat. So I've got Los Angeles represented for you today because you are an LA man, a local. So love from Australia, and I love the Dodgers. So
we need you because Josh is a Padres guy, right?
I think Josh is a Padres guy. I think. Yeah. Oh wait. I think I've heard some Padres propaganda before. Yeah.
So we need.
If not, it's a great alliteration to say.
Padre
propaganda.
And hard to say a few times in a row, as it turns out. Well,
it's a drinking game.
We need your Dodgers love.
I'm here.
Down under. Because I can't have only Padres fans in Australia. That hurts my heart in a deep way. But it's fine though. The Dodgers got the World Series this year. My kid is happy. I'm happy. All is well. It's so good, Matt, to finally get you on the podcast. This is a long time coming. We tried to do this like a month ago, and it didn't work because schedules, mostly mine. But you are on summer break now, so we managed.
I'm on summer break, so we freed up some time, and I know you've had a busy morning. Shout out to Adam King as well, a Canberra local. I know you were recording with him this morning. So yeah, look, it's just good. It's on summer holidays. We've got 2 down days of basketball. It's like the Sabbath. We're resting. It's one day after the NBA Cup. But there's no hangovers because Darvin Ham won't allow us to party, which I still find is the most odd thing in the world.
So weird.
Can you just imagine the cleaning crew last year walks in after the Lakers and we're like, oh my Lord. And this year they walk in and be like, why is the Michelob Ultra just
what's this High Life doing sitting on this chair right here? Yeah, Darvin Ham, I feel like the only thing we learned from all of this was that he's a weird dude. Like
and he has some bad feelings, towards the Lakers.
He does. Well, I mean, like, he was getting nailed for a long time there, but he also was doing a very poor job. So, like, just wear it, bud. Like, also, like, I think it was Dan Wyke who went on Twitter and was like, the Lakers celebrated for like 4 minutes last year. Darvin, this is absurd. Don't try to claim that, that's why the Lakers got bad and had nothing to do with you. Whatever. You're getting the Angelino and me fired up here. Matty G's got some buys and sells for us.
I do. I got a whole bunch. I'm riding high on it, man. I just did my sell high show last night. So I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's do this.
Then let's do this thing. As everybody knows, when guests are on my show, guests are pretty much steering the ship on this thing. So
good.
Where do you want to go first? Where do you want to start?
I want to start in Florida, on the opposite side of the world to you. I want to start with Jimmy Butler. I want to start with Jimmy Butler. Buckets has been the 16th ranked player in the last week. Now, again, all these last week, as we talk about the week, it's a lower sample size. So obviously Butler, 2 games in the last week, but this is why like a while back, I was like, buy low, buy low, buy low, buy low. Get all of the Jimmy Butler stuff you could do ages ago when he wasn't playing, he was sitting out games. Not only that, he's been the 12th best player in the last 2 weeks. So we look at this is peak Jimmy Butler currently. And Jimmy Butler's never a first round guy. So for me, when he's fringy first round or in the last 2 weeks first round, and there's all the trade rumors, and look at who he's going to. And Dan, my thing is this, if he does want to go, like, I'll only be traded to certain podcasts myself. Like I have a list of demands that I want to go to. Oh yeah, I'll only go if the ringer calls. You know what I mean? Like it's, if you're Jimmy Butler and you're going to the Warriors, or if you're going to the Phoenix Suns, you are no longer the best player on your team as well. He's had this experience. And also he has not been the best player on his team since Chicago Derrick Rose time. Like you could argue Minnesota Timberwolves was interchangeable with Cat over time. He has been obviously the lead man over in Miami, but wherever he goes, he no longer retains that number one status that he did. So a lot of his opportunities, I think, not a lot, but some of his opportunities get diminished. And I think this is where we can sell him now if we can, because I think it's diminished long-term return for Jimmy Buckets.
What do you think you could get for him right now? Because I feel like there's like the two sides to this, because the slow start, maybe there is still a window to get him at an affordable price. You could almost just be a conduit to get him and move him if you found the right managers in your league.
Correct. Look, I don't know who you could get. Like this is the really weird thing. Like I did see someone the other day offer him for Jaren Jackson Jr. and I would have just jumped at the chance. And then Mobley type, I would have just been like over the moon. Scotty Barnes is a questionable one that I've heard as well. Now, Scotty's coming back off injury, so he's now moved to questionable for tomorrow night's game, which is great on the injury report for all those owners of Scotty Barnes. But this is where maybe before that goes off in the down days, you could send a similar archetype to that, where you're getting more rebounds, getting more assists, feeding those counting stats, probably a little bit more, I would say. That would be an interesting move to pivot to Scotty Barnes. Because it's not that Jimmy Butler's bad, and you could give up a second like fringy player from your waiver wire that you picked up and struggle and put in as a straggler maybe and get some return. But yeah, man, I'm really high on making a move now while the iron's hot before he does get moved, because it sounds like that's going to happen.
What do you think about guys that are valued like kind of close to him, or maybe guys that were drafted relatively close to him, like a Darius Garland or even his teammate Bam Adebayo? Would you like to pivot to those guys as well?
I probably would pivot to Bam. I like Garland a lot. Look, and Butler, to be fair, is on 39th ranked for the season as well. So we say this is like, oh yeah, Jimmy Butler's not great, but he's been the 39th ranked player according to Basketball Monster. He's played only 19 games compared to a lot of his peers that are in like the mid-20s. Ooh, Bam is around the same. I would probably try and up myself to even a cheeky buy low window on Dyson Daniels and someone. That could be nice, because Dyson he's on my buy low list because he had a shocking week. But if you could get 2 for 1, I'd be thinking about it. A Walker Kessler for a big, depends on your build.
I like Walker Kessler a lot. I'm in.
Yeah,
he's been interesting. So you think maybe turn Jimmy Butler on a hot week into 2 buy lows together? That's groundbreaking. I don't know if anyone's ever brought that up on this show before.
Well, I think if you're being tactical, like look at Dyson Daniels on the course of the season. He's been the 28th best player. He's been in the mid. I had him on the list in the last week. He's on my notable sells. I'll bring it up. Notable buy lows, because I didn't want to. Yeah, 186th in the past week, 28th on the season. So that just looks like, oh, maybe it's not happening. The Hawks are winning games, so maybe this is his new role. I think he's going to be a hell of a lot better than 186. But if you could get 2 really solid things, because Jimmy Butler is, let's quote, a superstar. And so we have these name attachments to things, these biases to guys like that. So look, I'm just looking to shop him around similar, but I'd definitely be shopping Butler right now. I don't know what I want to get for my team. It depends on your build as well. You know what I mean? Like we can throw darts at everything. Like Kessler is very different to an OG. I would take OG Anunoby back in a heartbeat.
Interesting, man. That one's a tough one for me. I might stay with Butler there, but I also have a soft spot for Jimmy.
I have a soft spot for Jimmy, but we haven't seen a lot of. He's been out a little bit, but not a lot. A little bit, but not a lot. Like it's a little bit like Butlerish. And I think we see stretches where he's not. And imagine if he gets traded and he's not happy. Jesus, Mother Mary and Joseph. Can you imagine a locker room with him and Draymond Green?
Oh, my Lord. It's either going to be perfect or the absolute worst.
And then that's going to just be sheer comedy for us. But look, that's one of my first guys. I just think this is the time now before anything happens, because I just don't like when he's 12 in 2 weeks, this is like peak Butler. Like it's peak Butler.
Yeah.
And even with all of his games played, looking over his logs of the last few years as well, the last few years, even with his games played, he was 28th in 23-24 on his 60 games played. He was the 10th player in 22-23, 64, and 17th with 57 games back then. So we know that he can do it. We can also sell that as a narrative. Like, come on, man, it's Butler. Look how good he's been for years. But let's get something back. If you can get a top 20 player, like a Devin Booker, whew, my Lord, you're selling the Kool-Aid. Find a Miami Heat fan. That's the key.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Find a Miami Heat fan. You brought up Dyson Daniels. Is that where you want to go next?
Oh, I can look. He was on my list of notables. I got a bunch of notable guys. Here, look, I'll bring it up on my thing. My notable guys that I had for sells were Goga Bitadze, 56 in the last week, 78 on the season. Paolo Banchero is coming back soon. I think WCJ, like last year, gets the minutes back. RJ Barrett in Toronto. Barnes is coming back now next game, so that's moved that forward. He's been 37th in the last week. RJ Barrett, 120. On the season. Quickly's about 5 games off, so we'll probably see him at the back end of week 10. Vucevic, for F's sake, let's just move off the bloke. He's going to get traded or something. There's no way he's the 10th player the last week, 7th on the season. We can write fairy tales, but Cinderella isn't believable, and neither is Vucevic as a top 10 player. LeBron has been number 4 in the last week after coming back, but again, limited sample size, 50th on the season. There is the ideal, again, the superstar thing, man, like Butler. You can notably just, this is a notable sell. Like, oh man, he's back. The Lakers need him. Just get these guys out of your roster. And Giannis is is another interesting sell on that one. You can sell him at 7 because I think this is peak Giannis right now, coming off the back of the NBA Cup, NBA Cup MVP. Like for me, those sell guys, like that's like you could just. The world is Giannis's oyster right now, basically. So look at this. I mean, look at that line. 32, 7, 11, and 6. The man has been an absolute monster. In the past week, he has just been absolutely obliterating everyone in the man's way. Like, it's just nuts. But we know about his deficiencies. If you could get someone, look, even like a Shea back.
Oh, God.
Like, this is what I mean. But this is the thing. Giannis is so hot right now. Like, he is incredible. And it shows in the last week. And in the last 2 weeks, he's up there. In the last week, on the 2 games that counted, he's been the 7th ranked player. So he's been more highly ranked than the Shays. I would even look for a Karl Anthony Towns type potentially. You could get, someone might even go Cat and 1. I wouldn't think so, but you could get like a Karl Anthony Towns. But he has been absolutely destroying. I think this is a time, if you're going to sell Giannis, who's your first round pick, especially if you built the build, Dan, that I'm going to punt this and it's all going to be work out and it's going to be great. And you're like mid in your standings or not doing so well, this is the time to reap the reward of Giannis, because I don't think we get better than this season. Like a top 7 player, wowee. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits.
If you were trying to move off of Giannis, so this is an interesting one because it brings up the team build side a lot.
It does.
If you are punting free throws, is there any reason to move off of Giannis? It feels like that's as good as it's going to get for you, no?
No, 100%. And this is where if you didn't land your plane right come draft day, this is where the advice
good
because
point.
I think this is where and let's say we're close, or maybe we've been doing really well in free throws and we're offset by his amount of attempts per game and we're built around that. Like maybe we insulated Giannis with our 2nd and our 3rd round picks. We picked up a Devin Booker in the 3rd round. And in the 2nd round, we got like a Donovan Mitchell who are really going to buoy on that high volume, our free throw percentage. I think there's a chance there. That we get, like he's on, like in the last week, he's been on 15 attempts a game. He's been 600. So it does take, you do take a significant hit with Giannis in that, but he's been the 7th best player. And you'll even look at his history. He's been 34th on the season, 104th last year, and 10th of the season before. So there's the truth of Giannis and there's like the fantasy reality. And if you didn't land your plane on that punt free throws build, man, this is the time to sell him. Because if you look, you could shop him to one of those teams that have a really, really high free throw percentage even and have a lot of volume shooters. Be like, I mean, he's not going to hurt you that much. Sell it. Just sell it. You're lying. You're lying. You're trying to move it. You're a manager. You're a fantasy manager. You're the Rob Pelinka of the world. Everything's fine. We're just going to get fringe role players. It's good.
Yeah,
Like
it's fine. Or, I mean,
everything's
you could look at a team that might be second or third from the bottom in free throw percent. You could look at the top or the bottom in that.
yep.
Those teams would be wise, especially the ones near the bottom in free throw. That team would be really wise to try to get him off of you in that instance.
100%. And you're hunting for that. You're going for that. Like, especially if they're like, look at the people in your league, just to easily bring it up. You've got it there. You go to your stats, you go to your standings, you see who's got the bottom free throw percentage. You're like, man, this is like the guy. If you're punting free throw percentage, who have they got? Take their number one pick and someone, because it's probably not going to be as good as Giannis in that build. And you were looking at a really sexy trade, because let's be honest, this is peak. He has been the man of the town right now, the man of the hour. So this is where we could sell that narrative to help us as fantasy managers, especially, again, people don't always get their drafts right. We're week 9. We've got to make moves. We've got to push forward to the playoffs sooner rather than later. It's your time to shine.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of those ones too, where like, if you're moving him to a team that's already or like semi-punting free throws, that's a situation where actually both sides could end up winning that trade. You don't even have to fluff the truth. You can be like, look, Giannis is unbelievable, but I screwed up my draft. I didn't end up punting free throws, so he's basically tanking me in a category that I was hoping to win. He's unreal in so
100%.
many other things. Field goal percent, points, rebounds, blocks are great. Like, you're trading away an outstanding basketball player, but it's got to be the right fit with him. If you don't have the right fit, then like his volume of free throws is so crazy that it can.
You have to literally, you have to offset that with like the highest free throw guys in the league to offset it. Like you literally on attempts.
That's crazy.
Like,
Like,
it's crazy. Like, he leads the league. He actually leads the league in free throw attempts this year in the last week. He leads the league at 15 attempts per game. It's like everybody just hack a freak. And I'm bringing up on the season. I'm pretty sure he's second. I knew he was very close. Paolo Banchero is actually, sell him to the Paolo Banchero team. Oh my Lord.
Yeah. Oh God, you might be creating a juggernaut. Maybe don't sell him to the Paolo team.
Maybe don't sell him to that one, but you'll be taking their free throw percentage. You won't be able to get a lot of other stuff back. But look, he's second in the league this year on 11.4 attempts. The next guys are AD on 8.8, Shea at 8.2, and then Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, and James Harden all in the sevens with Devin Booker and Damian Lillard. So you've literally got to almost take 2 of these guys on that other team to kind of compensate even lightly. And it's just... It's not an easy thing. It's not easy.
We're talking to Matty G, NBA G Wiz of Insight Fantasy Sports. I don't think Giannis was even one of your main guys. He was a guy that was on your notables, and we ended up just talking about him a bunch, huh?
It's a really interesting thing, though, because it's like, do I sell my first pick? Well, you can. Like, I think we're so, as fantasy managers, tied to like our first round pick being an immovable object. Well, you need to be an unstoppable force. So who wins out? And it's got to be you. So we got to just get ourselves out of these. Like, oh, he's my guy. I'm like, maybe he's not. Maybe you sucked at your draft. It happens. Drafts go crazy. We've been in drafts, man. Like, we're in a league together. How crazy do drafts get? Like, we forget about draft season. It's intense.
Oh, it's so much fun. Matty, what are you working on these days? Let's do a mid-show promo before we get your next buy or sell.
Everything going on at Insight Fantasy Sports. Make sure you check out our Patreon. Check out my Instagram. We've just launched that, Insight NBA Fantasy. Get onto there. I've got Blue Sky, but everything's happening at Insight F Sports. If you're an Australian and listening to this, we've got the BBL, which is the Big Bash League that's been kicking off. We've got NRL, AFL gear, and NBL happening there. So we're covering all the sports here that basically play on domestically, NBA, and we do our sell high, buy low shows each week, weekly previews. We do the live with Kingy and, of course, my guy Skitty every single week on Saturday mornings coming up for the holidays. Mate, we've got a lot of stuff going on. But, yeah, get onto the Patreon. Make sure you check that out as well. And check out our Instagram and our Twitter handles as well.
Where should we go next, good sir?
Oh, what do you want to talk? What do you want to do? I feel like I'm steering. Like, can I give it? How about you're on arrest? How about another buy low who played yesterday? Okay. 152nd. In the last week, one of my favorite players. He has been down, and again, this is where when we look at the last week, I'm going to go down. I've got to really. This is the problem. I've got to scroll down now a long way to get back to him, because I'm talking about Jaylen Williams.
Oh man!
Now the playoff J-Dub was a real thing, unfortunately, yesterday. And OKC sucked. I did a poll. Like, what is it a story that we don't buy that OKC is a contender? They just didn't have a good day. They were abysmal from outside. Let's just be honest. They were absolutely abysmal for outside. But for me, when you're the 152nd ranked player in the course of the past week, and you've been on the season basically a top 10 player on the season. This is a very much a tale of two different human beings. I'm bringing it up. He's been 9th on the season. But then we look at the last couple of weeks, and you just want to get those managers who freak out a little bit. Look at that line, 21, almost 22, 6 and 5. But the thing is, he's actually moved a little bit. So in the last 2 weeks, he's been 46th. And then 152nd last week in the 2 games. So we've got a 7-game sample size where he hasn't been on the season the 9th best player. So this is where we could start to be like, this is where we send them out. Because of those managers, again, we look for the managers that own Jaylen Williams, that might be a little bit mid in the standings, that might want to think they're upgrading. And this is where we use a sell high player. If you put Jimmy Butler and someone else into a trade for Jaylen Williams right now, going back to that sell high, see, even you have to think about it. Like when you say, like,
I like that starting point. It's got to be good. It's got to be a pretty good other player, but I think that's like Butler at least has the power and the name recognition.
This is it.
Kind of that, like the fulcrum of that deal.
Exactly. And the gravitas behind that name is like, oh, and this is where we use to move those sell high guys. And we can throw in an extra dude if we want, be like, push, oh man, look, I just, he's been great, but he's been slipping lately. I think with Chet coming back later in the year is going to hurt him down towards the playoffs. I love Jaylen Williams, whatever you want to do. Package it however you want. I don't know how you want to package this, but for me, 157, bad week, bad 2 weeks, still top 50 player and 46th, 9 cats. Like not bad, very, very good. I love J-Dub. I picked him up. I didn't ever think. He's literally surpassed my wildest dreams. I've owned him since day dot. He's a superlative player. I love him in fantasy. I love him in real life, but it is a fractional buy low window on him right now. And like you said, man, if you can package a guy like Butler, I would be taking that.
Yeah, I think that's a great starting point. Matty G, take me to player number. Well, technically, I guess this is player number 3, but we did a few other ones. Wherever the hell you want to go. What's next?
Let's look at another superstar on the buy, Kyrie Irving in the last week. 74th ranked player on the season. He is 15. Now, I love Kyrie. I own him in a 20-man. I own him in a 20-man, 10-player, no IL spot league, and his value in that is ridiculous as well. It's tough. It's in Ballpage here in Australia, massive fantasy group, but he's been incredible over the course of the year. Like he's playing really, really well. But again, it's the narrative of the last couple of weeks, and when managers start to panic, they start to be like, I might have lost last week. I might be losing this week. They only look at we only look at losses sometimes. We just look at me like, oh yeah, Yahoo pops it up and then they give you the raining showers and you lost 4-5, and you're like, shit. You know what I mean? Like yeah. It's like ESPN starts not raining the confetti this week and they just put you thumbs down. You're like, excuse me, app. I didn't ask for this for my emotional well-being for the day. Like, what do you? I don't.
Yeah, what do I need this crap for? I know I lost. I was watching.
And that's all we see. We see the L. We might not see how close, but the guy is the 15th best player on the course of the season, 74th in the last week, the last 2 weeks, 52nd, and the last month, 33. So the narrative of fall down is like, okay, what can we do to get Kyrie? I think he'll be a lot better than this. He is a top 20 player in my mind. Look, would you trade a Jimmy Butler for Kyrie? Again, let's use the Butler experiment quite a lot. Name brand for name brand. But I think this is the thing with Kyrie. I think he's actually got a bit of a diminished name now, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. He is still a name, but he's diminished a little bit. Like he's still very, very good. And I hate saying that. I love Kyrie. I think he's like one of the best basketball players we've had in the last decade. Like the man is a phenomenal handler, brilliant. But all the off-court stuff, the move.
Yeah.
He had a really incredible season last year. Like literally, he finished the 9th ranked player last year. He's the 9th ranked player this year. Nothing changes with Kyrie when he is this good. But because of that diminished name, because of the last couple of weeks, because of the last month, I think this is the time to buy low because I think he's only going to get better. And he got better as the course of the season went on last year. And I think it's time to buy low on Kyrie Irving. If you can get him in your team, it's a good move. Low
Matty
turnovers.
NBA G Wiz, are you at all concerned about Kyrie and missed games going forward? That's the one area that gives me pause on this.
No, I'm not. He's played 24 games on the course of the season.
Yeah, good so far.
It's been good so far. And then we always get these stints, but he also returned last year. He played 58 games. So we could take off the top of that, Where's he going to miss the 20 games? He looks healthy. He had a bit of a slow start to the season as well, and he still climbed up into the ranks at number 9 right now. So we've had that Kyrie slow start. I think he's really ebbing and flowing really well with the Mavs this year. It seems to, again, be another year with Dallas. He's been there the last couple. Like, he's been there last year. This year, he's much more comfortable. He got there at the end of the 21-22 season for those last few where they were tanking away. Man, he just looks really comfortable out there, and I'm not really concerned. But this is also the thing why we should be able to buy him right now. Because just like you said, man, there might be a concern of missed games, and that's where the owner and also the Mavericks playoff schedule for fantasy owners isn't great again this year. So we do want to be conscious of that. And so you could sell that, but again, you don't need it if you're built that way. It's only 2 games. Use your waiver wire, pick up acquisitions, manage yourself really, really well in that phase. But that's the only bit of a caveat that I have to that. There is that Mavericks playoff schedule that we should just keep in the back of our mind. The shoulder issue, maybe he misses 1 or 2 games. But it's a game time decision. It's nothing that's pressing. Maybe he misses the next one. And if he does, that's where we could definitely swoop in and buy a low.
You have one more key name that you wanted to talk about today. Who is that guy?
Yes. Sell high, Malik Monk. There's no way there's no way he is the second best Sacramento King. God, no. Woo! No, he has been the 32nd ranked player in the course of the last week, 72 on the season. He's got that starting job. He's back and forth with the injury. This is just Malik Monk, 16, 4, and 5 basically over the course of the season. But the unbelievable, ridiculous thing for him is look at his blocks. Look at the blocks per game. Slide it over. Go over to the blocks per game in the last couple. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, got a little 3 spot in that last one, I see.
Yeah, 3 spot. Look at the defensive stats there. He's getting steals every single game. He's had 4 blocks over the last 2 games. Completely not sustainable. But the thing is as well, he's climbed to this 32nd rank in the course of the past week based on his defensive prowess, which is words we shouldn't use synonymously with Malik Monk. Defensive prowess, Malik Monk, is not a vibe. But to climb up to this kind of ranking on his absolutely abysmal as well on field goal percentage. Yeah, that's just not something that I'm buying right now. And Domantas Sabonis has been ranked number 1. De'Aaron Fox has not been good lately. So, just open up buy low windows on De'Aaron Fox. We've seen De'Aaron Fox go down and then just hit the second half of the season like an absolute bloody juggernaut, to be honest. But Malik Monk has had to carry a little bit more of a load there with his good mate and college buddy not playing well. But when you're averaging 2 blocks a game, 1 steal, and your field goal percentage has been tanked at 367, I also believe he'll be better than that from the field, but he does hurt you because this is what he does. This is the full Malik Monk experience right here. This is the full capability of him. His field goal percentage has not topped 475 for the past 3 years, but it's not going to be bad in the 300s for that long. But I think it's just a sell high. He's not the 32nd best player in fantasy, but you can sell points to the sexy girl at the bar. They get your attention. You get the attention of the 3s per game as well. You get that. You start to look at it and you're like, oh, 4, 1, 2. Look at that. Look at it. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 8. Whoo, capable of popping off in a second. It looks sexy. But it's time to sell high. Move him while you can.
Would you pair up Malik Monk with Jimmy Butler and go try to get one of those highest profile guys you were talking about?
Oh, 100%. I probably would. As long as it's the highest profile. The thing is, I know that I'm taking a points hit straight away. Malik Monk is also low-key just being a really decent playmaker sometimes.
Yeah, the assists are nice.
The assists are nice. He averaged 4 last year, 3 the year before. He's never got more than a steal a game. But if we could get the defensive counting stats in, then that might be something that I look at. Again, we can always get points and 3s from the waiver wire, especially come silly season. So for me, if I'm pairing that, I'm really going hard in a trade though. If I'm pairing Monk, I am really making a play for a legitimate end of first round. Would you do? Here's one.
Okay.
Let me get
hit me.
Donovan Mitchell
for Malik Monk and Jimmy Butler together.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going Donovan Mitchell.
There you go.
Also has had a little bit of a down season by his standards.
This is correct. The minutes are down under Atkinson's system. They're just destroying people. They don't need to play him.
They are absolutely obliterating teams. I would love the Cavaliers to play some godforsaken close ball games for once.
I've got Darius Garland in a couple of leagues, and I love DG this year. He's been like phenomenal. I also think it's like a good buy low like time for like guys like Jared Allen are just a little bit down right now. The whole timeshare with Mobley, that's a thing. But would you chase it? You'd go up. So if you have Butler and Monk, would you send that trade out thinking that you might be able to get Mitchell back? Because I think someone's going to have to give a question for it.
I think they would think about it at the very least. I don't think you get laughed out of the room. Same story for Kyrie Irving. Same story for Jaylen Williams. You might get a no, but you're not getting laughed out of the building. You're sending Jimmy Butler, who is a perennial top 30 guy or better. You're sending Malik Monk, who's the absolute, like you said, the sexiest lady in the room right now with this move into the starting lineup and the assists and the scoring and all this stuff together. Like, you're basically saying, hey, here's a proven top 25 and I don't know, maybe Malik Monk could be a top 40 guy. We don't know what he is, but if you love him, I'm asking for your top 15 guy back. I get it. That's a lot, but like a 25 plus something super interesting, that's enough to get at least in consideration.
And I've got to even get a bit cheeky. Go with a couple of buy low guys. If you're doing 2 for 2, get cheeky with it. How about Tyrese Maxey and Michael Porter Jr. for those two guys? Because Michael Porter Jr. is not a name in the room, but Michael Porter Jr. has been 122nd in the last week, 65 on the season. Tyrese 50. He's been 49 for the past week, 29th on the season. I think Maxey's going to be a lot better. We've seen this before. So we're getting a quality point guard back. We're changing out Malik Monk. And then we're making that upgrade from Butler to Porter Jr. to offset some things. You've got like maybe something in that area.
Honestly, I'd even be comfortable making that buy low someone who's much farther down the board, frankly. Look for someone in like the 80, 90 range that you think is about to rebound. I don't know who the hell those names are right now. I don't have it in front of me, but just look for somebody that you think is about to move from the 80s and 90s.
80s and 90s. A Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero. He's exactly at 80.
Over the last couple of weeks.
Over the last couple of weeks, yeah. So overall,
on the year, he's a lot ahead of that. I would even think overall, like
overall, wow.
Because 2 for 1s are so hard to pull off, but the combination of Butler and Monk, that should be enough to get you some stuff. Jimmy Butler's so interesting too, and you and I could probably spend a half an hour on Butler alone because right now his field goal percent is about the best it's ever been, and his free throw percent is about the worst it's ever been.
Correct.
There's a weird thing going on with Jimmy Butler this year where those will probably come sort of back to each other, and maybe that.
I think my favorite weird one was like in the last couple of weeks. It was odd to see that just barely that Giannis was shooting. I think it was 6-15 from the line, but 6-14 from the field. It's just like I'm like, am I drunk? Am I looking at the same numbers?
Nope. That man is really like. Yeah, Giannis is
80th on the season. 80th on the season. Oh. Look, you might be onto something here. Here, let's go from the 80s. Ingram, nah. Wiggins, nah. He's a sell high if you own him. Just get him out of your lineup, Andrew Wiggins.
God. You're gonna punch me in the face for this, but Bradley Beal is in that range, and he's hurt all the time. But dude is better than top 80 when he plays.
Oh, 100%. And I think they're getting that out of the way very, very soon. And especially if he moves to Miami. If that's the trade they make, oh my!
Well,
Jesus, Mary, Mother, and Joseph. Wow,
the 2.5 extra shots per ball game, Bradley Beal. That would be all right. There's other guys in there too.
Coby White, Jaylen Brown at 84. Dejounte Murray, Tobias Harris, Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, they're all. Take any
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that one might not. That one.
I think we can leave that one. But Cam Thomas is still at 95. So there's your points.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen him back in the Nets lineup. But yeah, that's in that 89 range. There's a whole lot of players you could target there. Even Zubac.
Yeah, his free throw percent is pissing me off this year. I hope that comes back around. I think the story, if there is a story in this, is take your sell high guys and think about pairing them up instead of going 1 for 1. See what sort of juice you can get for whoever your sell high guys might be. Because, looking at all the different analysts we've had on the show over the last week and a half or so, there are a lot of really interesting names. If you push them together into a sell high double package, you might be able to buy low on someone who's pretty damn far up the board. Matty G, did you want to do a lightning round on was it the buy notables that you still had?
I did have the things. The buy notables. I just mentioned a couple of them. Tyrese Maxey, 49th in the past week, 29th on the season. Dejounte Murray was another one, 98 on the week, 85. He's up for trade. there's like what's going on in New Orleans. I don't think we ever know what's going on in New Orleans. He's on there. So I had Tyrese Maxey, Coby White, Dejounte Murray, Dyson Daniels. Again, 186th in the last week. He is like well done. 28th on the year. That's a buy low. Again, it's the diminishing returns, because if you look at him over the last couple of weeks as well, let me bring up Dyson. Again, this is not Australian propaganda.
It's fine. Kingy just talked
he's Josh.
Like, so.
Oh, he did?
But yeah.
Yeah, but it's true, because like I had like sell high on Josh Giddey, then he gets injured. I'm like, he was the 19th ranked player in the last week. We moved that, but then he's injured. So what can we do there? Well, not a lot. But yeah, look, in the last year, but this is the thing. The narrative is like 186 in the last week for Dyson. 80 in the last 2 weeks, 75th in the last month.
Make it so.
I think it's a window. Dan, I think it's a window.
God, I love that hat. I just keep looking back at the screen and I just think about how much I love that hat.
Wait, I'll put the background back as well, so you can really just.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do our wrap up with all Dan's everywhere.
All Dan Day.
So you got a message.
All Dan Day.
Can you please tell the story about the YouTube comment you got before I let you go?
Randomly had I think it was on YouTube or on Twitter last year, and some guy's like, "I thought you were American," and I was like, "Hey man, like thanks, no, thanks mate, no, Australian all the way." And then he was like, "Ha ha," like crying face. I had you confused with the other guy in the hat and glasses.
Ta-da! There he is.
This one, also wearing an LA hat apparently. I didn't even notice that to start off with.
Wait a minute. I got that one on the wall here. I just have a bunch of push pins on the wall right above my show, so I can flip hats. They're interchangeable.
There you go.
That's the black Los Angeles Dodgers hat.
I have an all black. You talk for a second. I'll get my all black one. Look at this.
I'll buy you. Look at. I'm just talking to myself right now. People listening after the fact. This is like nothing that I'm saying makes any sense at all. But yeah, you got up and you just left me sitting in that chair.
No, there you go. All black Dodgers hat.
Black on black.
Black on black Dodgers hat.
There you go. Man, you got the Dodgers arsenal. I'm proud right now.
I've got white and white. I've got this one, and I've got a white and blue. I got two of them. My favorite hat I lost on the beach in Sorrento down in Victoria. It was a black Dodgers hat, and it was like a fitted one. It was like a 47 brand. It was like a fitted one. I got at Dodger Stadium, and I loved it. It was my favorite like cap, and I went in the ocean with it stupidly, and it went down
That's gonna wash up on a beach somewhere. In like
someone's very lucky.
Years, and one's gonna go, "What the hell is this?" After the robot overlords and all that stuff. Matty G at NBA G Wiz on the socials. Check him out. Inside Fantasy Sports. Yeah. Check that out as well. Matty, thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to do this, and obviously go Dodgers.
And go Dodgers, man. So grateful. Thank you so much for your time and for I love all the things that you do, man. So thank you so much for having me on, and appreciate you. And make sure, and if you don't, do it already. Hit his subscribe button. It's down below. It's the bell. Yeah. It looks really nice, and it's good. It's in the algorithm. Go and do that for him.
That was way too long coming. Matty G, ladies and gentlemen. Matty G on the pod at long damn last. Again, that Twitter handle is NBA G Wiz. NBA GEEWHIZ. The man wears Dodgers gear. I think I'm in love. Inside F Sports is Inside Fantasy Sports on social media. You can check out all of his work there. He does incredible graphic work. He does incredible video work. He does incredible shows. And he's funny as hell. Big thank you to Matty G for popping on the show today. First of many. And actually, I'm excited to say that we will also have a first-timer on the show tomorrow. The last remaining Dan. He's not the last Dan. That would be an unkind way to put it. There are 4 Dans in the fantasy basketball space. Dan Palio, Dan Titus, Dan Me, and NBA Fantasy Bible. And he's finally, again, my own damn fault, but he's based out of Western Australia, which is one of the toughest spots to get the damn time zones to line up for, because it's his morning at like the end of my day when I don't have kids screaming at home and need to go run carpool. But we finally made it work. He's getting up early. Daylight savings time, I think, has actually made this one easier somehow. Anyway, that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Quick reminder on everybody we talked about on today's show. Jimmy Butler got in there. Dyson Daniels, Jaylen Williams, Kyrie Irving, Malik Monk. Who am I forgetting here? There were a few others. Hold on, I got this. Some notables. Tyrese Maxey was in a mini slump before that 40-burger. Coby White, Dejounte Murray, Michael Porter Jr., depending on where you think he might end up getting traded. Guys that might be sell-highable, RJ Barrett, Nikola Vucevic, Goga Bitadze, and then we talked about, I think I mentioned Giannis already. So a lot of names covered with Matty G. Big thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We will have another show coming up for you a little bit later on today. This should be the show that airs first thing on Thursday morning. Just stick with us, subscribe. That's how you know what's coming next. Hit that like button on the way out and drop a 5-star review. I'm Dan Bespers, at Dan Bespers on social media. Old Man Squad over on Blue Sky, I should say. Shout out again to Bet Online for their continued support. And we'll talk to you guys soon. So long for now, everybody.